I wish that title was clickbait. I did, in fact, lose everything. But before I get into that, let me just back up a little bit because I have not posted in a while. It has been a very, very, very busy few months. And if you could not tell by my hair and hilariously bad mustache, I am no longer in the Army. I got out of the Army. My girlfriend graduated medical school and is starting her surgical residency here in San Antonio. And because I just work remote writing for, it was an easy decision to just follow her down to San Antonio and move in. So we pack up all of our stuff, we get rid of some things, and we drive down to San Antonio to start the next chapter in our lives. And then
everything is pretty much gone.
And then that happened. Everything we owned. And I mean everything, minus my phone, my cat, and the clothes that I was wearing to bed that night were all taken. And what they decided they did not want to sell, they just up and destroyed for some reason. In addition to this, my car was being pulled by our 26-foot U-Haul. So when they drove off with the U-Haul, they also drove off with my car and everything inside of it. The car was eventually found on top of the dolly that it was loaded up onto, and the window was smashed, the trunk was ripped open with a crowbar, and they ripped up the center console in order to try to hotwire it, but they failed. So now it's getting fixed, and eventually I'll have it back. Until then, I'm just riding around in a rental, which is actually nicer than my actual car, so I'm not even complaining that much. If you're wondering why this screwdriver was in the thumbnail, this is what they used to break into my car and try to get it started without the keys, but they failed and for some reason decided to leave it behind. Maybe they thought I needed it more than them. The only downside though is that it's a flathead and I'm more of a Phillips head kind of guy, so I mean, it counts for something. We've both been in complete shock since this happened, and I have combed every corner of Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and pawn shops in town that I can find, hoping to find some of the more high dollar stuff that was lost, but I have yet to actually come up with anything. I was hoping that the first video that I did in this new house, in this new town, starting this new part of my life, would not be the video that I'm making right now, but it's not all lost, and this isn't just a tearjerker story. I went to a hot yoga class this morning, so it can't be that bad. My life is certainly not over by any means. Everything is replaceable. All that was lost was stuff. I still have my cat, I have my health, I even got my car back. It's not the end of the world. So for example, the camera that I'm filming this on, the microphone picking up my audio signal, and the laptop that I will then edit this video on have all already been replaced, and in about a week, I'll be back on my feet as if nothing even really happened. This whole thing though has made me remember the video that I made several years ago where I said how the Army taught me minimalism, and Lord knows I am trying to remember those lessons now. And again, I'm not starving to death. I have a roof over my head and this bed to sleep on, although it is on the floor because the bed frame is running late on the delivery. It'll get here eventually. Ironically though, the hardest thing I found to replace is all my clothing because it's very hard for me to find clothing, which is why I'm wearing this t-shirt that was gifted to me that I was in fact wearing the night that all my stuff got stolen. Were there some things that were stolen that can't really be replaced? Yeah, like all of my journals and some of my old Army memorabilia, but I'm young, I have plenty of journals to fill up in the future, and that kind of brings me to my next point. Not only do I have journals to fill up, I have a lot more videos to make about what's going on around me. And disclaimer, worth repeating, I am no longer in the Army. I'm not in the reserves. I'm not in the National Guard. I'm not even in the Boy Scouts. I know a lot of you guys were here for all the Army stuff that I would post, but just know I'm out of Army stuff to post. That well is run dry and we're going on to something else now. With all that said, I've been kind of floating around the idea of what to do with this channel now that I'm out of the Army. It started because I was showing off what I'm doing at West Point, and now I am just Mr. Taylor instead of Captain Anything, so what am I gonna do with it? I floated the idea of going back to like a vlog style of content, but of course, this being my channel, I don't want it to just be your typical clickbaity, fake scenario kind of stuff that gets views. I want it to be kind of a combination between like a normal vlog, which shows what I do every day, along with some of the other stuff that I already post, like talking about topics that I think are interesting and hopefully you think are interesting, and maybe I present them in an interesting way and we're all interested together, and it's this fantastic little harmony that we reach. And also, since everything's happened, I've had this intense desire to capture my life in a way that other people can't touch, even San Antonio U-Haul thieves. Like I said, I lost all my journals and all of the notes that I'd taken over the past 10 or so years of my life, and now I kind of have to make up for it. But I feel like the rest of the stuff that I go forward, that is recording and witnessing my life, can be a step above of what I've already been doing. I'm taking this as a hard reset. The hardest reset you could probably take involuntarily, but a reset nonetheless. In my yoga class today, the nice lady that was giving the class said to look for the opportunities and the obstacle, and the stealing of my 26-foot U-Haul with all my worldly possessions is certainly an obstacle, and I think this is the opportunity inside of it. On the bright side, I never had to unpack a truck in the San Antonio heat, so I got that going for me.